All right, so welcome back. This is the community game plan shenanigans with it. Jim and Eric Holman. Not Jim.
I'm Jim Smartin.
That's
just in case you got that confused.
If you haven't wondered, we did take a little hiatus. I'm just getting back into this, finding my tongue again. We did have a planned some planned time off. We took about a month and a half off, and now we're back into the swing of things after the illnesses, vacations, volunteer work, plus work.
Yeah, and just replanning, because I think one thing we really had to do is we decided this was working well for us, so planning the direction we wanted to go to and really make sure that we reach the community in the way we want to.
That's right.
And still manage the education on the real estate side.
Yeah. So today we're going to kind of backtrack a little bit. We did a podcast back in the day. I think it was our second one, actually. Back in the day. Yeah, we've been starting this in January, right? But we talked about getting into the business, and we did leave some pieces out of that talk. So we are going to start back out in and talk about that. We are also going to have a special guest back on, Linda Smartin, who is a instructor for the NSAR course. So she'll give us some insight and stuff as that to help you get ready for your course and getting involved in real estate. We're also going to be turning it on later into the show. We are going to have another special guest. We're going to have Chris from the Dartmouth Rugby Pigdogs.
Yeah, Dartmouth Pigdogs.
See, we're getting our tongues. We're just getting our tongues back here.
Dartmouth Pigdogs Rugby Club.
So we'll have a talk with him, see what the club's doing. They're looking to find some new sponsors to help develop their field and their field house that I know that they're working on. But we'll have Chris talk more about that.
Yeah, and again, it's like I said, we've got Chris coming on because it's always good to have the community tied in. We've got Linda jumping back on because we don't want to scare the people off us. I do recall from our
first one.
Our first one, we were hitting the negatives, but it's because we don't want you to be completely out of the loop on what actually can be coming your way. Be prepared rather than be scared. Know what I'm saying?
Sounds good.
Okay, at least somebody does.
Wow, we'll figure it out anyways. So up next, we're gonna go into how to get involved in real estate, and we'll have our talk with Linda next.
Cool.
All right. So on a previous podcast, we talked about the getting into real estate as a business, and we talked a little bit about pitfalls, the costs involved, where to go, NSAR, Nova Scotia Real Estate Commission, but some of the things that we kind of left off once you got licensed, and we didn't carry on after that. So we thought we'd talk a little bit more about now you're licensed, you paid all those fees, you've dropped that $8,000 with your course, your registration, your insurance, your licensing fee. You found your brokerage. Now what?
Yeah, we've scared you.
We've scared you enough. There's a ton of money involved. Really, there really is. So I think the big things that we've always found, being new agents ourselves. For myself, I was a new agent in Fredericton, and then I moved back to Dartmouth, and I was a new agent again. So I had this restart from scratch basically when I moved here. I had lots of connections and lots of friends and family, but that's not something I've always relied on for my business. I've always said 99% of my business comes from strangers.
Yeah.
I definitely have no issue dealing and meeting and talking with strangers, even though my mother told me not to when I was a kid.
Hey, it's what makes you the money. You get free candy or you make money. It's the industry, right?
So you're fully licensed. You got your license. You basically have a license to kill in a sense now. But now what?
Yeah. Well, and again, we've done a good job in that last segment. Like I said, I think we did a good job scaring people. I think we did a good job instilling the getting lost. But what I think people they don't know, or they're told later, or they don't even understand, is when people talk about their sphere. Mm-hmm. They talk about the way to grow. And it's great. Like they say, make a plan and you're gold. Well, making a plan is part of it. Like anything, and then you actually have to follow through with it.
Yep.
And some people don't even realize that they know there's the people that are going to make them successful, they already know them.
Yeah.
And if they don't and it's not even they're going to buy and sell through them, you know what I mean? They know them as in this person knows this person.
Right.
I worked in the kitchen industry. You worked in the kitchen industry. I got a good sense of referrals from people I met while I was in the kids. Like before I was ever in real estate, I met these people.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, they turned out to be my best referral sources.
Yeah.
So.
Just to clarify, because I know we go off on rants about keywords and phrases in real estate. So what Jim's talking about, spear, we're actually talking about your SOI, your sphere of influence. So it's your friends, your family, your current coworkers, old coworkers, your school teachers, your coaches from past. That's your sphere of influence, and those are the people that you want to hit up first once you get in your license, and just say, "Look, I'm in real estate now. I'm here to help you." That's the only way you're going to get experience. Nobody off the street's just going to give you a call, right? So you got to start making sure that your sphere of influence is well versed, that you're now in real estate.
Yeah, and it's yeah, that's just it. Sorry, I do go into, hey, I'm going to use terms because I've been in this long enough that terms are normal for me. And I think that is the big problem when people come in the business is they don't have somebody breaking it down for them.
Yeah.
It is, and I give brokers all the credit in the world to try to have meetings, to try to have trainings and aim it at every level, to keep every level of realtor interested and invested in what they're trying to teach.
Right.
You have the people who are like, I have no idea what they're talking about. That's way over my head. I'm not going to this one.
Yeah.
And then you have the ones who have been like, I've been in the business like 20 years. This is not aimed at me. What is going on?
Yeah.
So to balance all of that, which again, kind of really does. We were both new. I was new twice, i.e. I licensed, left, cooked, came back, got licensed again. But it's only one time. Like we've learnt these things. So I really would like to get kind of the insight of somebody who has seen multiple first agents and see how like the different areas brings them in. And,
well, they're different personalities, different backgrounds, and you know, some of the most successful people might come from work background that you never expect. They may never have done sales previously, but because of their sphere of influence, they're actually naturals when it comes to real estate. Besides the learning, besides the learning of the different houses and things like that, that comes over time. Yeah. But yeah, we have our next guest is going to be Linda Smarden. Linda, as you know, has been in the past with us on the many calls, and she is one of our mentors as well. But she also is a instructor for NSAR on the entry real estate course. So she has insight,
and she's seen so many new agents.
Right. Yeah. Her past as a broker. She's dealt with and helped many new agents getting into the business as well. Yeah. So up next, we're going to have a little conversation with her
and bring her into our chat.
See if she can give us some insight for you newer agents of what makes a good agent.
Yeah. Or, you know, if you're looking to become an agent, or frankly, if you have been in the business a long time and you still haven't found your footing, you might want to listen to us. Yeah. We might not know what we're talking about, but she does.
We think we do.
We know what we're talking about.
We really do.
Welcome back to the community game plans. Community game plan shenanigans with Jim and Eric. Again.
Hello. Yeah, again. That's it. Hello, Jim. Hello, Eric.
Hello.
So, just so you get a little feed of what we're doing this week, we kind of in the last segment, we're talking about getting into the industry and all the stuff that you need to do. And basically, we're in the money, the finances aspect of it. And today we're getting more into the like, you're in the
nitty gritty.
Yeah. But we've got the side of new agents. When you come in, the things you see that kind of make the successful new agents, some of the pitfalls the new ones fall in that keep them stagnant for a year plus, and what it takes to become a rookie of the year as new agents, because some people come shining, and they all come from different backgrounds. So we wanted to talk about a bit about the backgrounds too that actually lead to.
So basically, your experience as a past broker and what you've seen of, you know, the new agents, what made them successful right out of the bat, so that we can give these our viewers an idea and give them some something to look forward to. Because I know we gave them the scare before.
Yeah, it's pretty scary. I guess I'll start with what doesn't happen. And Jim, you can relate to this, I think, is you're thinking about getting into business and all your friends say, oh yeah, as soon as you get in, I plan to buy a house or plan to sell a house or, yeah, I have friends and I'll make sure I refer you. And everybody, a lot of people get in and just expect people are going to call them because they said they would.
Yep.
And all of a sudden those calls don't happen. And they're not quite sure what to do. They're a little bit lost. They just feel that they'll get in the business. Their phone will start ringing. They'll put it, a notice on Facebook to everybody, hey, I'm in the business now. And they expect that they'll wake up to a ringing phone. And that's just not the case.
Nope.
For a variety of reasons. And first and foremost, I think, people, I think it's easier for people if they've done business with you before in other environments or they run a sports team or so they know you personally and they see, okay, this person I see as a stand-up guy. But we've all known the person that is a great partier. They're good time Charlie. They're a lot of fun. And also these people don't call them. They don't understand why. And they think, well, it's because what they know is they don't hurt you, who they like a lot, but that doesn't instill the confidence that business you is going to do a good job for them. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't mean you won't, and it doesn't mean that they won't at some point trust you. But these people, you need to show you're professional. They have to get to know professional of you, just like a stranger has to get to know professional of you. So first and foremost, you have to get out of your mind the mindset that your phone's going to ring. And then 99.99% says it's not going to ring. So once you establish that, then your next move is to determine, all right, I need a business plan. I need to figure out how I'm going to develop my business. What do I need to do in order to grow my business? And there's a trainer that loves to say, real estate sales, any sales is contact work. Basically, you need to reach out. You need to figure out how you're going to reach out to people. And I'm talking about the one-on-one reach out. There are some great marketing options. I'm not saying don't do social media. I think you really need to integrate it. Social media is a tool when used effectively to support other things you do. Sending out flyers is a tool, but they are in support of people knowing you face to face. So it's how you're going to connect with people, and it's whether going back and connecting with your friends, notifying them I'm in the business. I like to get together with you, and I'd like to have a business discussion with you. To let you know what I'm doing, and again, I'll feel like I'm a trainer. I had to laugh. He talked about this mayor campaign. His names are very familiar, and it's when you're talking to people. If you know people that buy, especially if you know people buying and selling a house, am I the person at this point you're referring to? Or initially, I'm building my business. I'm developing my business clientele. I'm going to stay in contact with them. I wonder if you would like me to stay in contact with you, because I respect you. We're friends. I don't want to leave you out. But on the other hand, if you have a business connection, I certainly don't want to interfere with that. So you need to actually not make attempts. You need to touch base with these people, person by person by person. And how I plan to do it is how many per day, whether it's 5 a day or 10 a day. And my big thing I like to tell people is if you had a real JOB where you had to show up every day, and whether that job is sales and you have to be targets, or whether that job is, digging dishes and you have to, get so much done a day, some people expect you to show up, they expect you to do your job, and then you get paid. The problem with people that don't succeed is they want to get paid when they haven't shown up and done their job. And they say, well, I really serve clientele well. You do when you get them. But your real start to your business. That you do your job well, you don't develop your business well. And to develop business, you need to develop clientele because you can serve 0 people if you're serving 0 clientele.
So I have a question going down to the whole job aspect of all of this. You said it a bunch as doing their job. We're finding my personal opinion is a transition of many people thinking their job is too much. They think that their responsibilities are way more than they are. Do you find that as somebody who's been around a bit, like the definition for the realtors with the trademark R, what would you say our job is?
All right. I think realtors and licensees are just people that are, anybody that's licensed is a real estate professional.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, I think they're far more consulting position than a sales position. Marketing is part of what you do.
Yeah.
You market yourself, you market a property. I get that. But in the end of it, you're a consultant. People are relying on you and your expertise to make a decision and to make a pretty significant decision. And that's whether you're buying a commercial building or whether you're buying a mini home. It's for that person a pretty significant decision. And so they're relying on your expertise. A big thing is, and I think people that succeed as they are lifelong learners and they are able to connect with people, and people realize very quickly that they are better off doing a real estate transaction with them than not. But there are certain things you are not. You are not a lawyer. So I like to tell people, one of my favorite sayings when I instruct is your job is to have enough knowledge to identify issues and then refer. Identify and refer. So your job, like one of the things you do, obviously market yourself, but when you have clients, you're going to show them houses. You're going to do a market analysis 100%. Whether you're doing it for a seller or a buyer, the market analysis is the same market analysis the buyer needs to know. And you are the market. That's your job, to be able to look at sales and recent sales and actions in the area and suggest a reasonable offer price or a reasonable list price for the buyer or the seller. The seller, you want to make sure that list price brings offers. With the buyer, it's that purchase price they're comfortable with, that purchase price based on the sales. In the end, you don't make the decision. We do not speak for our clients. We support them and we propose and advocate for them, but we advocate for positions that they take based on information we give them. We don't have to agree. Well, not we, because I'm not licensed anymore. You don't have to agree with the decision, but you must make sure they have all the information. So number one, your job is to make sure you give good informed decisions. Number two, your job is to know when it's not your job anymore. Your job is to know you're not a surveyor. So if you're out and you can't find survey pins, is say, look, this is what the apparent boundaries look like, but there's no way for me to be able to tell that for sure. The only way you're going to know that is with the survey. Your job is to prepare for buyers and for sellers enforceable contracts. Your job is not to enforce the contract. And every time I get a question, when I was a broker from a licensee says, legally, what would their position be? And I said, legally is a legal question which you ask a lawyer. You send your client to the lawyer. What would happen in court? That is a lawyer question. Licensees have to understand it's also not their job if your client doesn't fulfill their duties or if your client doesn't do something they're supposed to do. It's not your job to pay to fix that.
No.
Your job is to make sure that you can demonstrate that you advise your client what they should do. And if they choose to ignore your advice, then as long as you can demonstrate that you gave them good advice, it's not your financial responsibility to fix their problems. I hate to say that I'm not being very nice. Your job is to help them not get into problems, but it's not your job when they make bad decisions to fix it for them.
I don't think it's not being nice. What I think it is we're seeing a lot of confusion, I think, in the industry these days, of people knowing what, like not even the customers or consumers or clients in the industry itself, of people not sure exactly what their job is and getting themselves in more trouble.
Yeah. I thought the two key things I took from you, and it's something I've been thinking about for a decade now, is the fact that as realtors, we are not salespeople. And I've been calling myself a real estate consultant for a long time, and I've had many realtors say, question me on it and why. And every time I tell or have those conversations, I'm telling people is that, like, at the end of the day, if I'm representing the seller, I'm not telling them what they're going to sell for. I'm going to advise them about the property's value within their area based on comparables. But at the end of the day, they're going to make the decision what offer they're going to take. And same on the buying side of things. It's we're there to consult. We're not salespeople like a lot of people feel that real estate agents are. The other point that you were mentioning is something that, another saying I always have is that I know a little about a lot and not a lot about a little. And that's why I surround myself with the professionals that are the experts at different aspects of the job that we cover. Because I'm not a home builder. I know enough about a house that I'll go through it even before the home inspector and point out a bunch of red flags. But I'm not going to tell my client for sure that's a major red flag. Is what I'm going to say is we're going to get the home inspector and we're going to get them to really focus on this area of the house. And it comes with lawyers. It comes with mortgage brokers. I will never tell anybody an interest rate or rules regarding around mortgages because they change constantly and I'm not the expert.
Eric, why did not we work together? We would have been so good together.
That's why we're working together now.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think a lot of consumers understand that. If we can, I remember somebody saying to me, well, if I can't do that, why do they hire me? They hire you because you know when they need extra help. They hire you because they're not getting information from 10 different buddies, which is not accurate. It may have been accurate at one time, or never been accurate, but certainly not accurate now. And you're right, things change all the time. Yeah. So, but it is your job to stay current on what's going on. If they're, you need to know if mortgage rates are going up. If that's been in the news, you need to say, look, talk to your mortgage broker. This is about mortgage rates. Jim, I know you guys put out something, a little bit about some of the incentives that are available. Oh, yes. And say, here's some incentives are available. I know are available, and then connect them with a specialist. So I think, Eric, your thing is that you have an obligation to be aware of what's going on, what subdivisions are coming up. If you're working in an area that has floodplains, you have to be aware there are floodplains in that area and where to find information where they are.
Yeah. Oh, the obligation, I like that. You have an obligation to be aware of. Like, that doesn't mean you need to be the master of it. But you need to know when it needs to go to someone else.
Well, it was easier when dealing with... it was easier when I was in Fredericton dealing with floodplains because that was just normal. I was everywhere, anywhere near the river. But yeah, they're I mean,
river. It doesn't know what stakes are.
I guess also comes down to, for me, is like, again, with agent side of thing and agency and all of that stuff that's been coming on. You have been privy to taking a course recently that kind of gives a little it draws a nice line in the sand from what we were talking about, like of even like agents like me and Eric on a team. For people who have been around, it's really not clear and simple throughout. I feel like in the industry that people know what their jobs are, like what I can talk to Eric about or what I can tell somebody else as far as how to do their job. Is there's actually a line that gets crossed sometimes.
Very much.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't think brokers really understood it. I think a lot of things in the industry come out because of complaints, because when the complaints are identified, things come to light for the commission that are harming the public. Right. So, with the mass increase of teams, you have team leads, and all of a sudden team leads are giving advice, which, they have tons of experience. That sounds like a natural thing to do. Until you find out that the advice they're giving, just because somebody's been licensed for 20 years, does not mean that they are giving the advice they should be giving, and sometimes it's wrong. Yes. And so the commission has laid down very strict and very clear guidelines that if you're giving broker level advice, you're going to be a broker managing associate broker. If you're a salesperson or associate broker, you cannot give advice. Now that means broker level advice. That does not mean you can't teach people how to build a business. In which I didn't even quite finish answering that. I did a lot of not, but yes, sorry. But you can help them put systems in place and practices in place to develop their business. and effective conversations so they can talk confidently with consumers. But when it comes to specific transactions and it comes to questions, broker level questions, what's the rule about this? What's the proper way to do this? That must be a broker managing associate broker. Right. And look at, I remember when before I was a broker and I had been licensed as a salesperson, and I took every course I could possibly take. I was, to me, learning, being as much of an expert within my profession as I could, so I could be as knowledgeable within my profession as I possibly could be. And people ask me questions, and I would just answer it. And then I got on the brokerage course and said, "Holy shoot! I've been putting my broker out like honeymoon to dry a little bit here, because I'm answering questions that should never have come to me. It should have gone to my broker." And I didn't understand that. And that is one of the things that is prevalent. I mean, guilty as charged until way back in 2005, I took the course. And, a lot of us don't know what we don't know. And in the end, the brokers are who's responsible. And so that's who has to be answering the question. And, I used to be a broker, and every once in a while, we get tagged on a Facebook post. This is a broker question. And somebody would ask a question, and I would look at the answer and say, "Oh my goodness, how did he straight?" And I'm a broker here, and this is the correct answer. Yeah. And let me just say, some of the answers were not correct to some people. And so,
I think it's getting even worse, Linda. Nowadays, with the technology we have, with group chats, and different Facebook groups and other groups, and it's a wild world out there sometimes.
It's the Wild West. But thank goodness there are a lot of like those professionals who are seeing that and stepping up and either saying, do this in a way that's not giving out your information. Like, ask me a hypothetical question and I might be able to help you. Otherwise, talk to this is a broker question. And
there's so many things I see online right now that I just have to shake my head.
Submitting this process or regulatory, anything like that, or it's, a client is getting upset or an agent telling you doing things incorrectly, that's when you stop it down and send them to the broker. You just clear it down. And if people that are not brokers or managing associate brokers can understand what you can share with people are the tools and the lessons you learned to get you from a newbie until here and how you grew your business. Right. That is valuable information, and that you certainly can share. Right. But when it gets into transactions, you step back and say, "I know how I handle it, but I'm not the broker, and I don't want to lead you astray."
Right.
And I mean, there are brokers out there, kudos to them, that have already put systems in place where you cannot have a team. You cannot be a team lead without being a managing associate broker. And they had already saw the problem with that, and now the regulatory body has made that very clear in the latest course I was on.
Yeah, and I think that's all part of this. It's always changing. Like we said, this is why you always have to be aware of your surroundings in this industry. Is you might not know all the answers, but you need to be aware that there's change.
Yeah. But even our mandatory courses that we have to take every year, it's not necessarily always new information, but it's regurgitated information that we all should know. But obviously, we're relearning this because somebody in the industry wasn't following the rules.
And we did look at when I remember a long time ago, not all that long ago, maybe a decade or a little over a decade ago, when transaction brokerage was very common in brokerages, where if you had a buyer, whether a buyer client and a seller client, they wanted to, go in the same, buyer wanted to buy it from the seller client. And we said, okay, we'll just be a facilitator. And we just jumped right into that. And the regulator said, no, you've got two people you promised to represent. Now you're representing neither. This doesn't make sense. That's not the right move.
Right.
What you should be doing is referring one person to somebody else to help them so both of them are clearly represented. That made a big change in the industry, and the industry very quickly started turning a corner. And most people now recommend strongly to their clients that the reason you brought me in here is so I can represent you. Why would you give that up? If I can engage somebody, if I can provide you with somebody to help you do that in order to keep that representation, you're way better off than working with me and not being represented.
Right.
Or even worse, working with me and I'm representing the other side.
Yeah.
So I think, I think part of it is understanding Part of it is, we are lawyers, and agency is a legal concept, and it's just taken a while for the industry to understand just how significant this is the sales versus consultant, how significant our duties are to our clients, and how significant these things called fiduciary duties, or what representation really means, and the value we bring is understanding representation and having the knowledge to do it skillfully. That's the value we bring, to be able to skillfully be able to represent our clients, because we stay current, on what's going on, we become lifelong learners about our industry, and we understand how to properly represent somebody and understand the value representation. If I had to pull it all together, that's, I guess, my point of view. So I say I am retired. I just want to clear this. I just keep forgetting.
Yeah, that is great. I did want to just, we don't have a lot of time here left, especially with you.
But
we'll be back.
We'll be back. We'll be calling you.
But I was actually just wanted to go, in your experience, because we're going to pull this back to new agents, is like, what do you see, like, when you have people coming in? What kind of industries are they coming off of that you see, like, the kind of the more successful ones, the ones who seem to hit the ground running and not kind of backpedaling or not standing still?
I think people that come out of people that were, in the most case, previously two type of people that were previously entrepreneurs, because I understand that you are your business, you are your business, so they get it. Yeah. And the other one are honestly people with very little experience, but with a really open mind. That the ones that say, okay, you have to meet people. So whether you're calling them, whether you're knocking on doors, with I knew somebody that refused to talk to friends and family, but he would knock on 2,000 doors a year. Good for him. He got, he was one of those people, Canadian Rookie of the Year, the broker of the brand we were with, right? He just did it that way. But he had somebody that coached him, and they said, this is what you have to do in order to build your business, and they did it. So those are kind of the two. Surprisingly, the ones where I've seen struggle the most are people with a background in sales. That's who struggle the most. Yeah. Because they have not the most, but they're among the most. Yeah. Them, and of course, people that don't want to talk to anybody. But because for them, they come in with a mindset they're really good at sales, whether they were selling in Leon's or whether they were a team lead at a call center. But you always had a widget to sell. You always had something concrete. Yeah. And they don't have something concrete. Yes, they can market a property once they get there, but really, what you're selling is yourself. Like, you know what I mean? And your value. You're selling your value, and the value of the brokerage you're with. And then, so if that value is what you're selling, then that's where it all starts. And then you bring all those sales skills in. And a lot of people that have a sales background just struggle. So I think people with an entrepreneurial background do well, and people with a purely 100, you tell me what I need to do and I'll do it, they also do very well.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for that. We will have you on again.
We'll give you some more
at some point.
Some more time.
Some heads up. But yeah, we appreciate it, and thank you for letting us give you a call.
I was gonna say one thing. A very reputable real estate agent from my early days in Fredericton told me. Just like what Linda was talking about, how entrepreneurs seem to be the ones that are a little bit more successful than somebody that came with a sales background. Yeah. Well, this realtor told me back in my day when I was early in my career is that we have to remember we wake up every single day unemployed.
We do, yeah, 100%.
I do not have a job unless I go out and find the business. Yeah. And that's the big thing with getting into real estate. If you are somebody that isn't willing to go out and put yourself out there, put your face out there, get in front of people, you're not going to have a successful real estate career.
Yeah, well, technically you don't have a career.
Well, you don't, right? You can't be that secret agent. That's another thing that somebody told me one time is don't be a secret agent. Yeah. We have a license to kill, but we're not secret agents. No, just licensed to sell houses. But yeah, I think the big thing for me was that was a home, something that hit home with me back in that early part of my career was that I woke up every day unemployed. Whether I had a listing, a buyer, or what, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
I still had to go out and work, and I still have to go out and find that business.
Yeah, every day. Yeah, mine was more or less the you have a gift of gab. Why are you not using it? Stop sitting in the house. Like, it worked in kitchens too. It's like any job I ever had, my talking is what kept me employed.
Oh,
so I don't know why it's not.
You were in the kitchen. I was in the front of the house.
Yeah.
Hospitality is, that's the other thing. I am an introvert. You wouldn't tell from some of my videos and some of my
Give me home and I'm happy to stay there.
But I'm happy to stay there. But,
yeah.
Also what I did when I was first in that hospitality industry and being a server is that I always felt I was an actor, right? Yeah. When I was in front of my tables, when I was in front of my clients now, I'm still me. But I'm a different piece of me. That's
you're putting out the part that doesn't want to be locked alone in your room, just left alone.
There are days I do that.
Of course.
I have to turn things down, turn things off, turn technology off to recharge. But that's when I go barefoot and walk through the dirt and ground myself a little bit.
But that's it. But that's for me. I think anybody who is used to talking, like if you work in a bar, if you work in a restaurant, if you like sell hot dogs out of a cart, like I don't care what you do. If you sold ice cream as a kid or lemonade on the corner, you're probably made for this job. Like, that's what it is.
Some of the most successful real estate agents I've seen come from hospitality.
Yeah.
Also come from military,
flight attendants.
Mm-hmm. Also, I know quite a few ex-teachers.
Yeah.
Imagine the amount of teachers, the amount of people they meet. The parents, the students, everything.
Too,
yes.
Like, people will believe whatever you say because you're used to teaching.
That's right.
The presence you give.
Yeah. And they're lifelong learners.
Yeah, exactly.
Military is, everybody. Like that's a big thing. Is like, in real estate, you never have 2 days alike, and you're constantly learning.
Yeah.
And I found there's something I learn almost every day. Something new or just a little tweak to make something more efficient for myself and my clients.
Yeah. Plus, how many industries can you call anybody from any like brokerage or it's like any store or any this and get support?
Right.
To be like, hey, can you tell me, like, what do you do? Like that you make those relationships because almost all those they make it for themselves. Like,
that's right.
Sears doesn't give their secrets away.
Sears.
And that's what they get.
Sears are in.
Exactly. That's what they get. But it's like where we can do that. But at the same time, we can say, I need to recharge.
Right.
And we can just not book anything.
Yeah.
And we're already, like you said, we're unemployed. We're unemployed when we wake up the next morning anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So if you need that minute to like put yourself back together, take it.
That's right.
But yeah.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break and a little word from our sponsor next, and then we'll come back and we'll have another conversation.
Hop into the community.
Talk about community.
Right.
And, we're going to have on later Chris from the Dartmouth Pigdogs Rugby Club. See you back in a minute.
Cheers.
Now, a quick message from one of our sponsors. Featuring two guys who know real estate better than they know how to work a Keurig. Eric Holman and Jim Smartin, the real estate team powered by eXp Realty of Canada. Hey, Jim, you ever notice how people will spend hours watching home reno shows, but when it comes time to actually buy or sell a house, they just stare at the screen like it's buffering?
Yeah, and then they call us and say, we found this place on a website. Is it haunted?
Honestly, at this point, I'm more worried about the roof, which is why we offer free buyer or seller consultations and a complimentary drone services. We can see your roof without either of us needing to climb a ladder.
Yeah, because last time I tried that, I saw my life insurance policy flash before my eyes.
So if you're buying, selling, or just curious if your roof is growing a garden up there,
call us first. We'll give you real advice, not reality TV drama.
So move with the team. Reach out at info@movewiththeteam.ca. That's info@movewiththeteam.ca before Jim decides to go up another ladder.
Challenge accepted.
Big thanks to Eric and Jim. Now back to the show where nobody's falling off a roof. We hope.
All right. Awesome. So, now we're going to very high-techedly introduce everybody to Chris Kingwell, the club president for the Pigdogs, for the Dartmouth, what is it? blah, 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 for the Dartmouth Pigdogs Rugby Club. So I do know what you do. You play rugby. I do know you are a club. We do know you actually do some stuff to volunteer and help other people. But what we'd like to know is if, like, in looking for sponsors, stuff like that, why don't you tell us a bit about the club, what sponsors do, and what their sponsorship goes to?
Okay. The club has been around for about 22 years. Started off just as a group of high school kids that wanted to continue to play rugby. To now, we're a huge club organization with age groups starting from U4 all the way up to senior ball. So I think last year we had about 280 registered kids playing in our club, playing at all levels: U4, U6, U8, U12, U14, U16, U18s, and U20s, and then senior men's and women's. So it's growing fast. Since COVID, more and more kids are now finally getting back out and getting active. So we're seeing a huge increase. To the point where we're finding it hard to keep up with the funding to keep everything active for the youth. And that's where sponsorship stuff comes in. We look to our community for local sponsors to help us with providing field time and gym time, all things where the cost has gone up. Yeah, and one of the bigger things we'd like to provide for our youth kids and stuff is make sure we get water at the field, so nobody's ever without.
Hold on a sec there, Chris.
Did I lose you guys?
No.
Drop it.
Yeah, I gotta turn off my Bluetooth. Hold on. My Bluetooth really wanted to be friends with you, so I have to just take that off for a second. There we go. Got you back. Of course, my throat is acting up now, so I'm just like coughing as you talk, so that's wonderful. Yes, that is what to do. So as a sponsor, like I am, why not? Yeah, sorry. Like me and Eric both are now. Do you want to? What does our stuff go towards? Like, what can people expect other than just the water for? Like the funds going towards, because just water. I'm sure one person could take care of water. So what else do you got?
Definitely agree. Like you said, the big chunk of our financial what we spend money on with the kids is actually the field rentals and fall and winter rugby, where we have to book gym time. So booking schools to get their gym access, all those are a huge financial bill, which is very expensive. But stuff like yourself, you two are a major sponsor of our youth program. This also provides a club training shirt for the kids, along with all the training time, so we can reduce the cost of the kids playing. Most sports like soccer and stuff will increase the price when turf time goes up, and we try to do everything we can to keep it the cheapest sport possible for youth.
And other than a good feeling, like other than feeling happy that they helped out, what do the sponsors see like as their benefit? How is the reward for sponsoring playing out, do you think? Like, some of us are really happy just to, be there.
We do our best to make sure everyone knows who our sponsors are. Major sponsors get publicized in all our brochures and newsletters, along with field banners at our home games and events at the home field. And as well, they get put on the jerseys and shorts or T-shirts, whatever is being printed at the time. So we do as much as we can to spread the word of who are the people that help to support local kids being active.
Well, speaking of events, what kind of events do you guys run as fundraisers and such like that? And where can people find out about them?
we're actually in the works of trying to find a new venue and support for our local rugby supporter, which is a charity event we do every couple months to help local charities in our community. One of the things we notice is in order for us to grow, our community has to be able to be strong and growing as well. So we've looked around and we found a few local charities that we thought were great to help our avenue and help them as well. So what we do is we hold it's called a supporter, and we get together at a certain area, and all donations at the door go to the charity. We'll run 50-50. We'll bring in auction items. We'll have entertainment for the evening, the band. And for a few hours, we all get together, have a social, and talk about what's going on. And we raise a couple $1,000s each event for our local charities.
Nice.
And a few we have been doing as the Dartmouth Monson Scholarship Fund. There's the Woodlawn Family Schools, and that helps all the kids in the schools in the Woodlawn area that need simple things as shoes or coats or toothbrushes, whatever is needed. They even help for breakfasts or haircuts. So those are the types of events and charities we're helping out.
No, that's awesome. No, and yeah, so currently looking for more sponsors. Yes.
Always.
So go ahead.
I mentioned about the. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I don't
You mentioned about your home field. I assume you're talking about Ira Settle.
That's right.
So for well, Jim and I are quite familiar with Ira Settle. We've played many years of soccer there as a kid. But for those who aren't familiar, it is in Dartmouth behind Main Street, behind the old Smitty's, right? And from what I understand, talking with Jim, is that you guys are looking to build that area up and possibly build clubhouse type thing. Is that something that sponsors can help and get involved with you guys as well?
100%. We're just at a little standstill right now where there was all those political elections and everything, so we have to send our proposal back in. But everybody in the community, for the councilmen to MLAs and all that, are all on board and supporting it. But once the actual project and everything gets going, definitely be looking for sponsorships on huge multiple different levels.
Right. Yeah. I think that'll be huge for the community, not just for the rugby, but that local community, because there's a lot of kids. There's a local school in the area, so it's probably going to benefit everybody there too.
Yes, the main focus of it is actually the community and making it safer.
Right.
So we'd be providing a spot where there's actual bathrooms and change rooms for kids instead of just having to do that on the field or around in the bush or anything.
Yes, yeah.
Providing a safe space where the families feel comfortable going and spending the whole afternoon there while the kids are playing softball or soccer or rugby.
Or rugby. Yeah. No, that's great. Definitely, whatever we can do to help you guys once you get back on board with that and helping you get the word out to help build that for the community, please let us know and we'll help you spread that word for you.
You need it.
As Jim clears his throat again.
As I clear my throat, because that's life. This weather has been great, but I'm not a fan of the pollens.
So I'm also just wondering, like any other collabs that the Pig Dogs do. I mean, you mentioned your community work and fundraising to help the different communities. Is there anybody else that you want to give a shout out to that you guys work very closely with?
Good question.
Sorry, I throw that on you.
Isn't there a Preston? Well, you have a Preston thing going on where you're trying to get more, what is it? Just like minorities into the sport.
Yeah, so some of our youth coaches and stuff, they're working really hard at getting into the schools and the Boys and Girls Club in all the local areas around us. So we partner up with a lot of people just to educate and show how flag rugby plays. I actually think next week, again, we talked about the Woodlawn School. We have a youth summer camp, and we're doing, I think, Monday morning. going and teaching the kids how to play flag rugby.
Nice.
But for partnerships, again, we're always available to help anything and anyone.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's been food drives where people needed hand collecting food or delivering food, unloading trucks. We do whatever. Usually, if somebody asks for help, we're always there to help.
Yeah, I've seen it. They do. The Christmas meals that the Rotary does, you guys big part of jumping in saying, let us know when that is. So yeah.
We're a big club, so it is hard to organize to get a lot of people moving in one direction. But whenever somebody asks, there's usually a handful of people that will jump in anywhere and help.
Right. Great name for a band. Somebody should take that.
So, any upcoming this summer? Any tournaments that you guys are hosting? Anything like that?
We host an annual tournament, and it's always the beginning of May, so that's already passed.
Okay.
Our men's season opener is this Saturday at our home field. Kickoff is 1:00 then.
Awesome. You have anything else you want to put out there? Anything you want to say on behalf of the Dartmouth Pigdogs Rugby Club?
I just would open up everything to everybody. If you're interested in just coming to see, we're at the field almost every day, like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We've got programs going on from 5 till 8, and then games and jamborees all summer.
Great.
You can just email us at info@dartmouthpigdogs.ca. Anybody will reach out and give you the full schedule of what's going on. We have a link tree where it has all our links as well. You can just click on it and you see what the community events and stuff we're going. We do provide like a family day where we bring in inflatables and have a barbecue and invite everybody in the community. We even try every once in a while to put an outdoor movie theater at the field, so people can come and just watch a movie and hang out.
Nice.
And all these things are all free. It's all stuff we just try to do to, again, like I said, bring the community together and show that rugby isn't what it used to be 20 years ago, just a bunch of hooligans. It's a huge growing sport.
Right. Yeah. So really all I'd like to say on that is in hearing that too, especially with how much it is in the community, you have like small businesses, you have individuals like agents like myself, like you have people who aren't making a ton, and really any amount can help. Like even like for that movie, the popcorn costs money. Exactly. So even for somebody to throw something in towards that, it's every single dollar counts.
Yeah. No, I love
right.
how
and so it all goes to providing something for the kids, making it fun and enjoyable for them.
Right. It's
and
just
doing what we can to make sure we're not charging them a fortune to get out and be active. Everyone should be out having fun.
Yeah, especially on a day like today when the sun's actually out for the first time. Well, no, that's great. I mean, we'll definitely be keeping in touch. We're fellow sponsors, so we'll be out to enjoy some of the games as well as when we can. Jim and I are very close to the Pig Dogs, and I want to try and support you guys as much as possible.
Great. As long as there's no soccer game on, you guys will be around.
Yeah.
I don't even go to those anymore, Chris. You got me on Wanderers days. I gave up my tickets.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I have Wanderers and Tides season tickets, plus I coach soccer, but I do find some free time.
I'll do drone work. How about that?
All right, so if anybody wants to find you guys, I'm actually looking right now at their Facebook page. So if you're on Facebook, search Dartmouth Pigdogs RFC, and you can find them there. They also have their tree link on there, so you can find all their information from there. They are also on Instagram, the Pigdogs RFC. So make sure you give them a follow, and if you're interested in some rugby, either full grind or flag rugby, that's your spot to go in Dartmouth area.
All right.
This whole clap.
Well, that was shenanigans, as always.
More shenanigans. All right. So, yeah, hope everybody enjoyed.
Yeah.
It was great seeing you.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
And watching. And checking out our clips and all of our Facebook and YouTubes. So
make sure follow us on socials. Jim has his accounts. I have my accounts. You can just search our names. You're going to find us, Jim Smarden or Eric Holman. We also have our team account, which is the Real Estate Team on Facebook and Instagram. So feel free to reach out. Also, special thanks, thank you to our guests, Linda Smarden and Pat from the Dartmouth Rugby Dartmouth Pigdogs. Chris. Sorry, Chris.
Well,
Chris from the Dartmouth Pigdogs Rugby Club.
Yep.
If
you ever Googled your name?
Have I?
Yeah.
No.
Don't tell people to do that if you haven't Googled your own name.
So, if you're interested in getting involved with the rugby club, reach out to the Pig Dogs, and you can find them on social media as well. And again, thank you for taking the time to listen to Shenanigans with Jim and Eric.
Yeah, we have more coming at you. We've got a lot in the go.
We're gonna have the community game plan podcast is going to continue now that we're back off our hiatus, and we are going to start back up on our Over a Pint live streams again. We're
a little new layout
new look, a little bit different. But if you also are interested in being a guest on either of our shows, feel free to reach out to us. We can find us at info@movewiththeteam.ca.
We're the team.
We're the real estate team.
Yeah.